What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers are expected to target Jonas Valanciunas based on recent reports. That still hasn't changed. Look for him to be a target. The Washington Wizards and the Los Angeles Lakers have made multiple deals in the past, so it makes a lot of sense that, hey, they would be another kind of outlet for the Lakers to get some type of deal done, particularly when Jonas Valanciunas becomes available, which I believe is December 15th, is the soonest that they could go and pull off that type of trade. Obviously, it all boils down to what is the cost, right? Like, you're not getting a first for Valanciunas, but if you have to give up a second or a couple seconds, then is it worth it? I like Valanciunas. He was a guy that I wanted the Lakers to get. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to get him. LeBron James was willing to take a discount in order to go get him. He's very versatile, big. Obviously, he has his flaws. There are concerns about him getting played off the court, but you're not looking for him to come in and immediately insert himself as this, starting caliber, just 2010 guy. No, you're looking for him to be able to start in spots when, Anthony Davis gets the night off. Maybe LeBron gets the night off and you just shift Anthony Davis to the 4, bring in Valanciunas at the 5 and kind of go big those games. Particular games, maybe certain matchups. Say, you're playing, Minnesota, right? And you got, Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. You can throw Valanciunas at a Rudy Gobert, and Anthony Davis can defend Karl Anthony Towns. I also think if you do that pairing, right, Anthony Davis makes up and covers so much ground defensively. I think that he can kind of offset, not all, but a lot of Valanciunas' flaws and his ability to get played off the floor, because you can just kind of stack Anthony Davis there and kind of use him in that kind of scout role like they do with LeBron right now. And I just think it'd be much more impactful defensively. Valanciunas can still defend and block shots, especially if you kind of funnel the offensive player to him. If you kind of leave Valanciunas on an island, he's getting cooked. But if you can kind of, defensively, if Jared Vanderbilt comes back and is healthy and he can kind of funnel the offensive player to Valanciunas, Valanciunas can clean it up. Shows the ability to stretch the floor. He can also make plays out of the post. I like Valanciunas, right? He's on a good value contract, $10 million a year for the next 3 years. If you can get Valanciunas, go get Valanciunas. Also, based on reports, same report from Dave McMenamin. There's two parts to this. I'm going to touch on the Valanciunas side here in a moment. But Anthony Davis has expressed that he wants to play less center. Now, again, he's not saying he never wants to play center or he just will never play center. I mean, even in the 2020 season, he still played center at times. But he just doesn't want to be full-time, 40 minutes a game at the center position, right? He wants to play some 4, play some 5, right? Have some versatility in that regard. So bringing in a guy like Valanciunas would make some sense, because now you have that kind of big center that can do multiple things, kind of hold his own and just kind of take some pressure off of Anthony Davis. Again, Anthony Davis can play that scout role. So I do look for the Lakers to get a center at some point, right? You kind of want to appease, Anthony Davis. But based on the reports from Dave McMenamin, the Lakers didn't go and get Valanciunas, and he ended up signing to essentially the most money in the most years, which he was able to get 2 years guaranteed and then 1 year non-guaranteed. So, again, which would benefit the Lakers if they're able to pull off a trade. And there's a lot of word going around that, like, hey, the Lakers couldn't even give a 2-year deal, like with LeBron willing to take down or take less money. You're not paying extra money. You're taking money from LeBron. So LeBron's actually technically paying for it. So, like, why wouldn't you give him the taxpayer mid-level or even less than the taxpayer mid-level? Give him the 2-3 years, right? But there's a couple things to this that just don't really add up. And I haven't really seen people talk about the other side, just kind of like the Lakers messed up. You could have gotten Valanciunas for 2 years guaranteed, right? Now, obviously, the first kind of like, well, how do we know what Washington offered? Like, Washington say, hey, you come here, you're going to start, right? We're going to play you X amount of minutes. Where the Lakers might have been like, hey, you're not going to start. We're probably looking to give you 15 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game, where, the Wizards are like, hey, we'll let you play as many minutes as you want, right? Like, that's obviously an easy entry point. But the other thing is, like, okay, if the Lakers weren't willing to give a 2-year, $20 million contract, or, whatever the full tax or full mid-level exception. I think it's like 12 million or whatever, like 2 years, 24 million. Right? If the Lakers weren't willing to give a contract similar to Washington, and now Washington signed Valanciunas to that type of contract, why would the Lakers now go and trade and give up assets to go get Valanciunas? Right? Like, it's also possible that Valanciunas was either promised things that the Lakers couldn't promise, or it was kind of up in the air because the Lakers were looking at, Walker Kessler, Wendell Carter Jr., making moves for Jeremy Grant. Do you also get Robert Williams, right? Like, there was all these possibilities. Was Valanciunas looking at it as like, well, I have this offer right now, or I have this potential offer? Also, at that time, right, LeBron was willing to take a discount, yes. But it wasn't just for Valanciunas. It was for Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan, right? There was a whole list of guys that the Lakers could have gotten that LeBron would have taken a discount for. So was Valanciunas looking at it as like one in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? Type thing where he's like, Washington's offering me 3 years, $30 million, or I could wait and the Lakers may or may not sign. What happens if the Lakers go and get DeMar DeRozan? What happens if the Lakers go and get Klay Thompson, right? Like, Valanciunas signed pretty quickly, right? He was almost immediate. So did he look at it as like, yeah, I'd love to go to the Lakers, but I also don't want to be one of those players that now I'm making a vet minimum or I don't have a place to go, right? Like when Washington's offering me $30 million, right? Like, wouldn't you take that if you were Valanciunas, right? So again, we don't know all the details behind the scenes, right? The Lakers might have said, yeah, we'd love to sign you, but we're trying to work it out to go get this guy and you. And maybe he just didn't want to wait. Maybe he just didn't want to take time. Maybe the Lakers were telling him like, hey, dude, like, just be patient for us. We're trying to pull off this, and then, maybe we'll work out a sign and trade deal for you, whatever, right? There could have been a million things and a million routes in which they went, and the Lakers were trying to scheme and work behind the scenes. We don't know. We're not in the room. We're not on the phones. We don't know what the conversations were to be had, right? And it's not like Dave McMahon was like, well, the Lakers, they said this or they said that. No, it's just kind of like, hey, the Lakers weren't offering, right, what the Wizards were offering, right? Like that it doesn't appear that the Lakers, but if that's the case, if the Lakers weren't willing to pay and give him the years, right? Which, okay, fine, he is older, right? Maybe the Lakers are looking at it as like, do we really want to give him that? Then why go trade for him now when he's on the same type of deal you could have signed him for? Something isn't adding up. There's something somewhere that just doesn't make sense. Now, is it possible that the Lakers are just incompetent and didn't go get Valanciunas and now, right now it's like, well, I guess we'll just trade for him now? Like, sure, that's always a possibility, right? Look, we've seen the Lakers time and time again wait for Paul George get spurred, Kawhi Leonard get spurred. I mean, Dwight Howard, right? We ended up trading for him. He ends up leaving. I mean, there have been countless players throughout the history of the Lakers that the Lakers went after in place of guys that they could have signed immediate. And lo and behold, they missed out on that guy, and all these other guys are off the table now. That very well could have been the case, right? Let's go get DeMar. Let's go get Klay Thompson. These are the two guys that we're really heavy looking at. These are the two guys we really want. Valanciunas goes and signs. This guy signs. That guy signs. No. We miss out on all these guys. And then DeMar DeRozan goes to Sacramento. Klay Thompson goes to Dallas, right? And it's just like, now it's just this jumbled mess. And now the Lakers are left with nothing, right? Like, we've seen that happen before, right? We've witnessed that part of the Lakers before. So, I mean, that is just as likely. But again, like, okay, yes, it would be nice to have gotten Valanciunas, right, and just signed him and then use your assets to go get other things. But Valanciunas, one, isn't making so much money that you can't make other moves, right? Like, he's making $10 million. You could swap Gabe Vincent with him, and then there you go. And you still have D'Lo, Jared Vanderbilt. They've been shopping him this season with his injury history. You may end up looking to move him, or maybe you're swapping Jared Vanderbilt for Valanciunas and then going and trading for a Jeremy Grant or something like that, right? Like, if you're only giving up a second or two, yes, that still hurts, especially with the new CBA, right? The new CBA second round picks are so much more valuable now, and it's why you've also seen all these teams sign their second round picks to multi-year deals, including the Lakers with what they did with Bronny James. And so many people are like, why would the Lakers give him that deal? It makes no sense. No player has ever gotten that deal before. But it's like, well, the CBA didn't exist before. Like this version of it, at least. This version makes that contract valuable. Right? That's why you're seeing all these other teams that never would have done that type of deal before all starting to do that type of deal because the new CBA, right? So to me, it's like the second round picks are more valuable than they've probably ever been, but you're in win now mode. You would have to unload second round picks anyway because you have to salary dump, right? You're going to have to clear off things anyway. So you're going to give up a second or two regardless, right? Even if you worked out a sign and trade, because remember, the Lakers roster was full. Lakers roster was flush. They couldn't just go sign Valanciunas. You had to salary dump to go get Valanciunas, right? Well, now if you can work something out to go get Valanciunas, it may actually make more sense to go trade for him because yes, you're gonna have to give up a second or two anyway, right? To unload a Cam Reddish and guys like that, but Washington may be willing to take on more salary so you can do other moves and you can do other things. Maybe you can bring in a Jordan Goodwin, right? So like, let's say the Lakers trade they swap Gabe Vincent straight up for Valanciunas, right? Boom. And maybe they throw in a Christian Wood, right? Give him Christian Wood. So now you cleared off enough salary to bring in a guy. Lakers go make the move for, say Jeremy Grant, right? Maybe you're doing Rui, Jared Vanderbilt, and Cam Reddish for Jeremy Grant, something like that, right? Boom, got that. Now you got Jeremy Grant. Now you got Valanciunas, right? And now you have a need for like a Jordan Goodwin. And now the Lakers could go and bring in Jordan Goodwin. And now you got Jordan Goodwin to replace Gabe Vincent, right? You got Jeremy Grant that can slot in and play the three and basically connect right there. And then you still have D'Angelo Russell to trade. You still probably have a first because you're not giving up both firsts for Jeremy Grant. You're not trading a first for Valanciunas. And then now you're trading D'Lo and maybe Jackson Hayes, right? Maybe you're doing D'Lo and Jackson Hayes for a Bruce Brown or something like that, right? And now you got Bruce Brown with Jordan Goodwin, Valanciunas, Jeremy Grant. Let's go try to win a championship here, right? Like, so it may work out better in the long run. Obviously, it depends on how the dominoes fall, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all. I don't think it's the end of the world. There's a lot of information missing, is my point. But as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm thinking, Lakers just, it's incompetence. They just dropped the ball. Do you think, no, hey, you're going to have to give up second-round picks regardless. So you might as well work it out with Washington. Let Washington get the second-round picks. You bring in a guy like Valanciunas. Maybe you can dump more salary on the Wizards, so that way you can kind of clear off some space. Bring in a Jordan Goodwin, something like that. And now you kind of round out the roster. Still go make other trades. Still go make other moves. Again, that's the thing. Like bringing in Valanciunas, I don't think whether you trade for him or you signed him outright, I think the outcome is still going to be the same, right? Where like if it was a Klay Thompson, right, I think you'd have to give up quite a bit, right? Or a DeMar, like you have to give up quite a bit, right? But Valanciunas, you're not going to it's not going to cost you a first to go get Valanciunas. It's not going to cost you a pick swap to go get Valanciunas. Talking a second, maybe 2 seconds, which you'd have to unload anyway to go sign Valanciunas. So it's kind of the same result in my opinion. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.